welcome back to Onesies, a podcast of one season wonders, blunders, and shows about necrophilia, kink, and racists. My name's Andrew.
My name's Emily, and I hate Andrew.
Well, there's only 15 more to go or whatever.
Christ. So we took a little bit of a break last 2 weeks? I don't know. Life happened. Sorry, folks. We're back. Well, you're going to hate us after this one, but we're back. I hope that if we have listeners who have access to the show, you haven't been sitting on it for 2 weeks.
I'm pretty sure that if anybody has access to this show, they should get rid of that access.
So today we're discussing episode 5 of Going to Extremes, Send in the Gloves. The worst pun name ever.
At least it's not about sex. With this show, that could have been a sex reference.
I have all of these notes. I watched the episode last week, so I'm not going to be very good at providing super in-depth commentary because I wasn't going to watch it again. And really all I want to talk about is the last scene. But there is story, I guess, that gets us to that last scene. Kind of. Sprinklings. Remember, was it last week or the week before, I was talking about how, like, Alex just sort of completely forgets, like, there are entire episodes where he doesn't talk about Dr. Davis. Well, in this episode, he admits to her face, which good on him, I guess, that he can't eat, he can't sleep, he can't do anything because all he's thinking about is fucking his teacher. But everything in the episodes proves otherwise because he spends a whole adventure on this episode with Cheryl trying to buy and install a water heater for their house. So he can do and think and exist without his penis inside Dr. Davis. But he tells her he can't. So I'm confused, but whatever. I've never been a man.
I'm not going to defend Alex from a position of patriarchal authority.
I mean, that's what you were doing before we recorded, but whatever. Yes. So they meet each other in the street when he is carrying the water heater out of the store, and they have a terrible conversation about the water heater as a euphemism for his penis. It's the most annoying thing ever.
It's annoying. It's not witty. It's not, like, relevant. Like, we are 20 years before anybody thought of saying girthy. So, like, it's just this really weird thing of, like, how many gallons does it hold? And it's just
that's
why
disgusting.
do you care, Donald Trump? Like,
how many gallons does your water heater hold, Andrew? That is the most disgusting thing I've heard as a euphemism for the size of one's genitalia.
But it comes so they're carrying it out of this store.
Yeah.
Where they have just bought a water heater at full price because Cheryl was not willing to higgle with the proprietor of the store, one Trader Joe, who walks around with a parrot on his shoulder.
One Trader Bob, I think.
Trader Bob. I'm sorry. Trader Joe is
a grocery store. Yeah. Now, Andrew, when he first said higgle,
yes,
did you immediately think sex?
No.
I did not either.
Okay.
So I found the whole... I thought it meant exactly what it ended up
meaning haggle?
Meaning haggle?
Yes.
I thought... I was like, oh, this is like racist even coming from an African-American woman. Like, she immediately goes on the defensive. Alex does too.
Yes, but he's also protecting her because she has just said that she is an independent person. She is not just a woman. She is a person too. All lives matter. And Alex, like, jumps on that bandwagon too to defend her and sort of increases the confusion of the situation. and she's just assuming Trader Bob is a pervo because he's a hefty gentleman with a parrot on his shoulder
Yeah.
and a smile she doesn't like. But then they're carrying it out to the car when Alex runs into Dr.
Yes.
Davis. But Alex is getting help from a young black man who Alex is being shitty to.
Oh,
Now,
imagine.
you would think this might be the only instance of this in the episode. However, Charlie's entire plot
Oh, right.
involves him being shitty to every black person he meets on a Caribbean island full of black people.
Yeah.
It's a lot, even for this
Yeah.
show. Like, remember when I said that other episode was the best?
Yeah,
And
I
you were
do.
like, no way. And I'm like, this show fucking sucks. This is what I'm talking about. This
Yeah.
type of shit. This
Yeah.
is bad.
This is bad. So the I don't know if it's the A or the B, but the other plot is Kathleen and Colin and Kim and Charlie are all thrown into kind of the fire when there's a bus crash and many people are injured. And so half a dozen people show up at the clinic in need of surgery and various things. And one woman loses her finger, and Charlie, because he just bought a cheap ass car on the island, is charged with taking the finger 45 minutes away to the nearest hospital on ice, where he encounters all sorts of black people from the island, in kind of the rural places in the island, and is shitty to most of them, is suspicious of all of them. And
does he trust anyone till the not black doctor at the end?
I don't think so.
No, it's really bad. And the
Yeah.
guys they're like, hey, do it like Fleischman from Northern Exposure, but make sure everybody knows you're kind of racist.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and then the medical plot involves, so we open with Carl Lumley sporting a very nice flat top. I assume he was on a pilot for some Navy show that didn't get picked up, just desperate to get away from this fucking thing. And he's got a subplot with
Roy
D that runs parallel to this,
where
Carl Lumley wants medical supplies. He wants gloves, hence the title.
Yeah.
And Roy D's like, you don't need gloves, man. Like, you'll be fine. Don't worry about gloves.
And he goes into some vague explanation. It's vague, but also detailed, like about how the budget works, and it's quarterly, and you only have so much money that you can spend, and I mean, it's oddly specific, but it doesn't leave you with any kind of understanding.
Right, which is the point. Which then makes it weird when the sort of punchline to this subplot is that like they're gonna work together more or something, and like Carl Lumley's guy's just like obviously miserable at the situation, and it's just like, what is this fucking show? Like, it's about white people inflicting suffering on people of color and the people of color having to do it to survive. And
also Roy D huffs pure oxygen before doing surgery
because he's drunk.
Because
he's been drinking all day. So we then cut to the clinic where Charlie and Kathleen are at the clinic. And so right before the bus comes in, and I'm like, is this Charlie's first stint at the clinic? Because like these two boneheads, like I'm not sure this is going to be good. But then there's like, Kim and Colin have broken up.
I know.
Kim,
their chemistry is not nearly as good.
And then Kim is late because he took the bus, and Colin's like, the bus doesn't get here until 3. And he's like, next time you're relieving me, you ride your bike. And then Kim's like, do you know what is his problem? He likes red meat too much. And I guess Kim's dick is white meat. I don't know. Like,
It seems like a lover's squabble to
it's
me.
a very weird lovers squabble. Like, they
Yeah.
tried it out, it didn't work, and like it's gonna be weird forever now. Which sucks because that was like
The best thing on the
the
show.
best thing on the show
Yeah.
so far. Then there's a bus accident where Dr. Norris has to translate. That's Carl Lumley. Unclear if the people are speaking French or
Some
their
patois. Yeah,
accents
some
are
patois.
too high, because that will come up. People will be asking them to repeat themselves throughout this episode, and it will turn out that the people were speaking English. And
Yeah.
it's just that the show's like, lay a little bit more accent on it. It's very weird. Or it's not weird, it's very shitty. Okay, so then we learn that Kathleen's never done a heart monitor before. Charlie's an idiot. Oh yeah, the hospital on the mainland. I thought the pilot established there wasn't a hospital that they could get to.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
Yeah, okay. And if the hospital's on the island's a lot bigger than they previously implied.
45 minutes? I mean,
45
that's a
minutes.
pretty
Yeah.
long drive.
Yeah.
Even in a shitty car going
Yeah.
40 miles an hour.
Yeah. So we're already losing our continuity. Okay. So then we have that Trader Bob scene with the Higgle, with the scene
Cheryl
with
standing up for herself. Very
Cheryl standing up for herself.
awesome, but she's also misunderstanding things. Now the writers purposefully made him a little creepy by being
Yep.
like, "Oh, I love higgling with beautiful women."
Yep.
You know, it's like they purposefully misdirected us, but still I was like, "Oh, they don't mean haggle? Oh, okay. That's weird."
No, what they mean is they mean she gives him a hand job. Like, it's fucking weak. Like, you would think this would have come up in orientation earlier. Like, you're just there and they're like, all right, ladies, one big problem with the island. You gotta give all the guys a hand job. It's just the way it is. It wasn't like this before Roy D got here, but Roy D got here and he's like, every lady needs to give me a hand job.
And every
gentleman. And every gentleman. That's right. We established that. Oh, well, Roy D likes some little silver foxy there.
Yeah.
He likes himself a little. We haven't seen Wilford Brimley fuck daddy in a while. Wilford Brimley fuck daddy's agent was like, you're a fucking cheesy soap opera star. You're not like a fucking sexual predator on a nighttime soap or on a nighttime like Northern Exposure would be. Like, come on, man. Okay. But then, yeah, so then we have the Dr. Davis scene where she tells Alex that she'll call him. And he's like, you promise you'll call me. And then we cut to Charlie breaking down on, like, next to a lake. It's unclear.
It's the ocean. I mean, it's got to be the ocean, right?
It doesn't have to be the ocean because there's water on the other side too, and it doesn't appear to be a bridge. It's unclear.
But there's the gaggle of people
Yes.
of hanging out, and this is when we get our first like complete distrust, like breakdown of trust, right? Where he breaks down and he's like, oh my God, my car's broken down, blah, 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 blah. He's like, I'm going to go can anybody help me fix it? Oh, no. Oh, okay. I'm going to go find somebody to help me fix it. I'll be back in 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Nope. Maybe sooner than that. I don't know when I'm going to be back, but the car better be here. And it like, turns into this like
car, me, mine. Okay.
So
commercial break.
Thank you.
Now it's time for the rooster scene.
They're
Charlie's
cockfighting. That's right.
Talking about cockfighting with a couple guys.
Cockfighting is not an ethical behavior, folks.
No.
And it turns into a really funny joke.
About the thing growing on his head? What?
No, about the thing in the jar, the finger that he's carrying.
Yeah, he gets kicked out after them going into all this gross stuff. Also, the guy not being able to figure out that it makes his arm sore when he rows with just one arm for a while.
Yeah.
Because he's not white. And so then Charlie's like, hey, I've just got this finger. And they kick him out and they're like really quietly, like they brought up the music over it he goes, one of the guys on the truck says, "Back off, grave digger." And I was
Yeah.
just, all right.
So I thought the back off Gravedigger was funny, but
Yeah.
I mean it was supposed to be a joke, I think, that these guys were into cockfighting, which
But
is
they were grossed out by
horrible,
the
but they were
finger.
grossed out by the
Yeah.
finger.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't really that funny. Didn't
No.
land. Did not
No.
land.
We now cut to our incredibly boring subplot about Alex and Cheryl getting the water heater installed. Um, they need a permit to get it installed. And then
Yep.
the repairman says, "Why didn't you haggle with Trader Bob?" And they're like, "Why would she give him a handy?" Cut to Kathleen meeting Mr. Brown, who is
Right.
a island
Oh,
native who learned how to speak with a British accent from the BBC or something.
BBC World Service or
Yes.
yeah, something like that.
So
Even
he
though
will
English is the official language
presume the
of
official language.
Jamaica. Anyway,
He
I don't know
yeah,
about Jantique.
he wanted the accent. So this is Kathleen's semi subplot where he's convinced he's going to die and she reassures him he's not. It figures into the Collins subplot where he is brusque with the patient because his supplies suck, and uh Carl Lumley tells him he's there to, like, keep the patients calm, not to bitch at them about his supplies
His
not
yeah,
working.
yeah,
And then this figures into, Kathleen failing because she doesn't react well to the gore, but she does take care of Mr. Brown.
yeah.
Um, it would be nice if we actually saw some character development for Joanna going instead of her being like a ditzy girl, but I think we're sticking with ditzy girl for this. It's really
Again,
bad.
not a great episode for her yet
No,
again. I'm
yet
starting to
again.
wonder if there are any good episodes.
Um, is this better or worse than when she had the softcore rain scene with her ex-boyfriend? This show
Um,
sucks. Okay. So then the bus driver shows up and Kim helps the bus driver. Now, this is a nothing subplot. The,
mhm.
the sub the punchline of this subplot is after Kim getting the bus driver back to health and the bus driver worrying about losing his job and not being able to provide for his family, the punchline would be that after protesting his innocence the whole episode, Kim finds out the bus driver was actually guilty.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. Spoiler, there's nothing
There's
to this
no.
subplot.
It's just a ploy to give Kim lines.
Exactly. It's fucking terrible. And what's weird is that Kathleen echoing off Colin thing. I mean, the content of it is bad because the show is bad, but the narrative device is perfectly fine. Like, if this were an episode of MASH and they'd done something like that, we'd be impressed because they did it in a sitcom. This is what the show's supposed to have been doing the whole time, except it just makes people racist and
Yeah.
necrophiliac kink. So then we cut to, yeah, I mean, really, there's nothing to talk about the bus driver. Nothing happens.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's
Um,
just an excuse for Kim to have lines. It's like,
yeah,
oh, Kim doesn't have any lines this episode. Let's write this little plot
get
in.
for him. So
Yeah.
then Charlie is driving around with a tour guide, a guy who is an
Oh,
amateur
right.
tour guide guy.
He
And Charlie's like, "I'm a doctor." And the guy's like, "I need to show you something." Pin in that. But this is where Henry Roy D gets to the hospital and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna operate." And
and
they're
he's
like,
and what's his name? Carl Lumley is like, you smell like you've been drinking all day, and he's like, that's because I have. And then he grabs the mask and puffs some oxygen, and he's like, I'm ready to go.
"I
And
am a white savior, Carl Lubley. You do not understand how this works. Do you understand me? I'm going to save this boy, bed his mother,
and
cuckold
his
his father."
and his father. Are you kidding me? He's gonna cuckold his father too.
Okay. So then we cut to Henry, well, it's commercial break. Come back to Henry operating. Our regular cast members are going to be observing the surgery, though Kim
I
disappears pretty quickly.
I did not watch the surgery because it's surgery, and it was.
Nothing.
I
They
know
play
it
with a
wasn't
piece of
any,
chicken.
and it wasn't anything, but it was still like icky. In fact,
But
you'll see. I was watching it on my iPad with my husband in the room, and I kept looking away, and he's like, "What's going on?" And so I wrote surgery on the back of my notes, and he's like, "Ugh." We.
they don't have the budget for
I know, but
surgical
it was.
videos. They didn't even have the budget for the bus accident. They
That's
talk
true.
about the bus. Roy D shows up. He's like, I saw a bus in the middle of the road. And I'm like, really? Because we didn't.
Yeah, that's true. They don't have the budget for it, but it's
Okay.
still just the idea of it made me creeped out. But yes, so
Yes.
they're doing surgery. Roy D is not drunk anymore because the magic of pure oxygen.
And white saviorhood. You
And
don't understand what it's
apparently I
like
don't.
being a Lifetime movie George C. Scott. Okay. You don't
That's
understand.
exactly what he is.
You don't understand
That's exactly what he is.
how fucking awful he was on that set, bro. Or he is the biggest sweetheart, which I can't decide.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to watch Dark Shadows, so we'll have more to discuss about both him and Joanna Going in a different context with less fucking episodes.
Can I make a comment about, because I'm just looking at my notes.
Okay.
Nobody likes Genesis. Nobody
Well,
likes
also,
Genesis.
they don't explain that well either. Okay, so we're not there quite yet because
No, we're not, because I thought you already talked about it. Oh, never mind. Go ahead. Let's continue.
No, but we do get Henry telling a story about when he was in Korea and he had a guy who was really banged up, and it was fucking great. And he got a boner during surgery, and then he went and he got himself a good time girl. And that's perfectly okay. So here's the thing, everybody. Here, it was okay until, God, I don't know. Was Full Metal Jacket the first time anybody ever suggested it might be weird American servicemen having sex with 13-year-old Asian girls?
Yeah.
Was it really? And Full Metal
I mean,
Jacket
in
didn't
American,
even do it. It
in
just
American
was like,
popular culture, definitely.
it was just like, this is a little fucked up, right? Is this a little fucked up? Cut. But yes, so if you go back and watch MASH, yeah, anyway. So is she 17? Someday.
On Night Court, Mac's wife, he didn't marry when she was young.
Yes.
She's Vietnamese, or, well, the character's Vietnamese.
Yes.
But they met when she was a child.
That's right. Yes. And so she spent her life preparing to serve her American serviceman.
Who saved her family, like brought them food and stuff. Like it was pretty problematic. But
okay. But
anyway.
I don't even know how we got there. Just the Korea thing. Okay. But then
Roy D's got a boner. He's telling his story, saving
Roy D's story. And then he's like, and then Carl was like, what happened to the fucking guy? And Roy D's like, well, he died, of course. And it's like the kid on the table's like, ah. And Roy D's like, stop whining, you little sissy. Close your eyes and think of naked women.
Yes, that's exactly what he does.
We then cut to Charlie and the tour guide. The tour guide is showing Charlie his unfinished homestead made out of cement blocks.
It's literally just a foundation. And he's using that as a metaphor. This is the foundation. I'm going to build this house. And, then I'm going to be able to support a family. When I have a house, I'm going to have a beautiful woman and we're going to have a family. And this is my foundation. And it's like, what does this have to do with Charlie being a doctor?
Absolutely. Almost Dr. Friend and an almost home selfie. So yes, I'm sorry, we don't have to come back to this scene. Let's get it over with. So here we establish the tour guide does not actually want to give tours. He just wants to be the only tour guide on the island with a house.
Yeah.
And that is special. And when you are special, beautiful women want you.
Yeah.
And then they fuck you in morgues. Okay, so yeah, they take a selfie together. It's really fucking dumb, but whatever. We then cut to the clinic again, the surgery. They're about to start. So, we had a little bit of medical show stuff at the beginning, and I was like, is this episode going to lean into it being a medical show? No, it's not. Okay, so here's where we get back to the least problematic subplot in some ways, where Alex and Cheryl are trying to get permits and they can't because of the inefficiency of the island government. Um, we then
They go to the right window, but it's only the right window on Mondays, and it's Tuesday, and they need the permit, and the permit's right there, and why can't you just do it? And you have to go up to this window, and then they go up to that window. And yeah, it's a mess.
It's a mess, but Cheryl's there, so Alex isn't overtly racist.
And it's filler.
Oh,
This
is
filler.
a 10-minute filler subplot. Yes.
Yeah.
We then cut to the hospital for a second, where we establish that the doctor doesn't have the materials he needs. Henry doesn't have the materials, so he's going to use a door hinge on the kid's leg for something. It's unclear.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But then we cut to what's his face? Alex praying to a clerk to stamp something approved, which the clerk then does.
He like begs him. Yeah, he gets like
he begs him.
Begs
and he
him.
says, "If there's a God."
Yeah.
And the guy just stamps it, doesn't say a word because they weren't going to pay him.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we cut to the clinic where they're wrapping up the surgery, and we see that Henry's using a screwdriver at one point.
To put the hinges on. Yeah.
Yeah. So then this is where Kathleen can't get the IV in. So
right.
Colin
That's exactly
talks her through it.
And says her, sing Genesis. And I was like, nobody likes Genesis. Even in 1995 or whenever the fuck this is. Nobody likes Genesis. Who likes Genesis? If you like Genesis, write in. I don't have a place for you to write in.
But still, we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Nobody likes Genesis.
So she sings the stupid I Can't Dance song, which was probably, a top 10 hit at the time. And that's why they did it, to make it relevant.
And that calls Genesis her down to do the procedure.
Yeah.
Which
that calms her down to be able to put in the IV.
Right. And it's just like, maybe that's a good technique. Maybe they read that somewhere, that you sing a song that you're not necessarily familiar with to distract you as you try to remember a non-familiar song. But it's like, Joanna Gowen can't pretend she likes Genesis. She's not Meryl Streep in 1983.
She doesn't pretend that she likes Genesis. She just sings the dumb song.
So then we cut to Charlie getting to this hospital that presumably he swam to, because we heard it was on the mainland for 2 episodes. And he won't give the finger to the receptionist because she's black. So he runs into the
operation room.
Yeah. He gets the wrong one, but the doctor appears to potentially be a person of color, but not a black person of color. So Charlie listens to him, and the finger is going to get to the right person. The scene makes the point that Charlie knows absolutely nothing about the woman or the patient who he is delivering this finger for. It suggests that that's the ideal. Like, it's like, it seriously is like promotion for, you should join Doctors Without Borders because our opportunities for you to feel like a white savior are better than with any other program.
Yeah.
It's icky bad. Okay. We then cut to Cheryl coming out of the shower. Now, at this point, I knew the episode was winding down, and you had said that there was going to be a scene that we need to talk about. And I was like, it's got to be Dr. Davis and what's his face, but this show sucks, so they probably forgot about that subplot. But no. And so Cheryl comes out in her towel. I'm like, oh God, are she and Alex going to fuck? How could they possibly fuck in a way that Emily's going to be shocked, other than Alex having somebody touch his water heater? Here, the landlord Arthur comes in for the first time. We
haven't met Arthur yet.
Nice looking black guy. This house has been presented as a combination shithole real world retreat.
Yeah.
Like this morning we discover, or at the beginning of the episode, we discover they have a special ripening rack in their backyard. They bought that in The Sims 3. And that's where they ripen their fruit. So, and Cheryl doesn't live in the house, or the bathroom is like a spa attached to the house. So the house ranges from being a shithole to super nice. And this episode, we're super nice. Arthur's like, what's up? You did some home improvements here. I'm going to have to raise your rent.
Yeah.
You suck. And he's like, and why didn't you higgle? And they're like, I wasn't going to give him a hand job. And he's like, why would you give somebody a hand job? They just want to like drive the price down through friendly banter. Like, haven't you ever heard of haggling? And they're like, oh, like, you're really stupid. I'll give you a month off.
Yeah.
I won't start charging you for the good water until next month. And I'm just kind of like, I mean, it's better than that's so much nicer than what you should do, where you throw them fucking out. Like, okay, so then we cut to Colin and Kathleen. He tells her a story about his first times doing an IV, and he did worse than her. And thank goodness he was there to guide her. He didn't have a white man to take him under his wing. Then Mr. Brown wakes up and he's like, well, thank you, Dr. Joanna Going. I'm going to head off now, but I just wanted to let you know you saved my life. I realized that even though I've been pretending to be British this whole time, I'm not really British. So I'm going to go to the UK and look at the Tower of London because I
Yeah.
want to go look at a fucking rectangle.
But he had this whole thing about how, he has this accent, but he's never actually traveled the world, and it's his time to go see the world now.
It's it's a real problem when colonized people culturally appropriate their imperialist overlords. I just want to say.
Yeah.
Also, I want to say it's distressing how many blue checkmark liberals there appear to be on Twitter these days. It's distressing.
Also, I want to say I'm like, I don't know if there's a podcast HR, but I'm going to submit a sexual harassment claim for this final scene that we're going to discuss.
It's not even the final scene. Did you turn it off?
I must have. It's like,
okay.
And done.
So we then cut to Roy D telling Carl Lumley that they should have been together in Korea. Yes. And Carl Lumley just like, man, my fucking agent. Why did I sign with a white agent? They were like, oh, you'll get on LA Law. I didn't get on LA Law. What is this fucking show? But yeah, and then Roy D tells all the medical students who have assembled for one last shot that they learn more than they ever would in a pansy-ass institution in the States.
Like go Harvard.
Home. Yeah. Go home. You did great, white saviors in training. The only person who didn't do a good job is you, native island guy, who has a chisel that isn't sharp enough. And the guy promises to get it sharpened tomorrow. And then Henry invites Carl Lumley to dinner.
Yeah.
And Carl Lumley's like, dude, I'm not in the mood for jerk chicken. And Henry's like, this place cooks up a mean combo plate, which is either a joke that Roy D doesn't get, or the writers don't know what a combo plate is. So our choices are bad acting or bad writing. Now we cut to, so now I'm going to set the scene for you. Emily and I are of a certain generation, me more than her, and based upon our interests in puberty, we are of the softcore Skinamax generation.
Yeah.
We are of the generation where if you had pay cable, if your family had pay cable and it included Cinemax, Dad was watching softcore and the sons were watching it too.
Yeah.
If you were of a household that did not, you learned that you could figure out what was going on between the lines. And oddly enough, I discovered this long after it was too late for me to put this to use. There were VCRs that would like auto track the fuzz out of the cable signal enough that you could watch your softcore without paying for it. This has become a big conversation these days. The youth does not think that sex scenes are good because they don't further the plot. There's also the big argument that sex scenes are not good because they are effectively, there's no way to do a sex scene that is not male gaze. There's a essay on this from the 70s that I have been meaning to read. But basically, it's that men sort of wrote the literature of the sex scene on film, and even when, say, a lesbian scene does it in a movie by and for lesbians, it still is, it's not a reinvention of that. Yeah. But defenders of the sex scene point out that it is a way of showing certain intimacies in how characters interact with one another, which brings me to my favorite sex scene, which is from the 2004 film Fantastic Four, where the blind chick rubs on the thing's skin and gets all excited. That's my favorite sex scene. Anyway, we'll now get to Emily's favorite sex scene.
Not mine.
Alex is in cold storage talking to himself about how he got a note that wasn't signed telling him to come to cold storage. If this had been the Full Metal Jacket scene where they had beat the shit out of him, would this be your favorite show ever? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I actually we're watching this show called From, and I was writing it up, and I was like, I can't talk about how much I want the kids to die. I only do that on our podcast. That's for the audio medium. When I discuss how much I want to watch people brutally assaulted. The white people on our shows brutally assaulted and usually murdered. Sadly, no. He finds a body bag with a sign on it.
With a ribbon.
A ribbon that says "Open Me."
Oh my God!
It is naked Dr. Davis, very covered. Now, this show has shown her booty before. Emily might have seen the shadow of Roy D's wiener. Like, it has been pushing those pre-Disney ABC limits. This is the network of NYPD Blue, after all. I don't know why they wanted nudity in primetime so bad. Like, this is the era of any publicity is good publicity, which we have changed now because we have things like accountability as a word. I mean, whether or not we have accountability, we at least have the word. Also, Danny Masters' wife is leaving him so she can keep her fucking money.
So she can keep their money. This is all a sham. This is all a sham. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's all a sham to protect their assets.
It would be a shame if
why didn't she leave him?
Solution.
Why didn't she leave him as soon as he went to trial? Why didn't she leave him as soon as she found out, because she knew that he was raping women? Like,
do you like your life, Emily? Do you like your house? I'm now referring to an incredibly problematic, but also quite good Judd Apatow, Bill Cosby bit. Judd Apatow was not the person who brought back, like, there is a black stand-up comic who basically just told a joke. He's like, remember when it came out a few years ago that Bill Cosby was raping women and we collectively forgot about it? That's fucked up that we forgot about it. And that reignited the conversation in the Me Too era.
Yeah.
And Judd Apatow had a really funny bit about it, but given how Judd Apatow has sort of revealed himself since then, there's this saying about cookouts and Judd Apatow. I can't say it, but a different person with a different background would be able to say Judd Apatow should not be invited to a cookout. Also, his daughter thinks racism is funny because she was of the Max Landis generation.
Ugh.
Anyway, moving on. So they fuck in the body bag, and Emily.
I can't stop. I cannot get it out of my head. When I go to sleep at night, it's the last thing I see when I close my eyes.
That the implication is that he crawls into the body bag with her and gets busy. You turned it off at this point?
Yeah.
Charlie goes back to his car and finds all of the black men in his car drinking.
I do remember
getting their jerk sauce on his
interior,
which also very problematic callback is a good anecdote for Mr. Sylvester Stallone, who, RIP, hope he's not really MAGA, once told this story about how he got into it with Richard Gere on the sets of Lords of Flatbush, and Stallone got him fired or something because Gere squirted hot dog juice on him in a car scene. And Richard Gere has then blamed Stallone for the gerbil story, which of course was infamized in Scream in 96, which is the first time that a celebrity rumor got put into that.
But what is the Arnold Schwarzenegger story about Stallone? That he went up, no, there was a role that was offered to him that he didn't want, but he told whoever the casting person was to go to Stallone and say, we've got Arnold on the line for it. And Stallone's like, I'll take it, because he wanted it, and ended up being a big flop. I forget what that story
Probably
is.
Judge Dredd.
Probably.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, nobody would have wanted that, but that's a good story. Also, Rocky Balboa is really good. Does a great job of integrating celebrity into things. Okay. But yes, so Charlie gets back. He's like, you can't take my car even if it is broken. And then they're like, we fixed it, man. It was just a loose thermostat. And then he's like, okay, I'll have a beer and I'll sniff the fish as the camera pans up because I'm not going to eat it. And that's the end. But everybody raises a toast. And Emily is going to repeat the line that Charlie joins them in saying.
No, I'm not. M-O-N. This
show is about why white people can use...
No, it's not. No. They can't. Andrew, I don't care how many times you tell me it's okay because you have black friends. You cannot use the N-word. You cannot do it. We've been over this and over this.
Emily wanted to watch this show because the dead people fucking. Her refuse. All this disgust is just a bit. She's coming out at the last episode.
I've never wanted to watch
Dracula the series turned her into a closet necrophiliac.
Dracula the series was your idea. This show.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, was it mine?
No, it wasn't. It was your idea. Okay. I made you aware of the existence of Dracula the series, but you selected that.
Okay.
I did not select it.
I am gonna pick a good show for next time, which in my mind defeats the purpose of this podcast, but but we need a break, man. We're 5 episodes in. This is
so bad.
This is so bad. This is so bad. Oh my god. Oh, but when is the Doctor Who thing? We'll get to the Doctor Who specials.
We're gonna do a break. So we will, as the Doctor Who specials drop, which is either October or November.
I think it's November.
We will be taking a break to do the Doctor Who specials.
Yay.
Because everybody in the world is like, they're gonna redeem Catherine Tate, and my prediction is they do not, because Doctor Who isn't actually good. It can be good. There are great Doctor Who's, but in general,
it's not very good. I agree. I agree. They do good character development, especially with Donna Noble. She was. Yeah. I mean, that's the reason why I like her so much, is because her character was so good. There are individual episodes that are really good, but overall, it is. I keep in mind that it's a show for children.
And it's coming to Disney Plus, which is kind of perfect because it is basically... Will
the specials be on Disney Plus?
Yeah. It's Star Wars for British kids of the 70s.
Well, basically. Yeah, because Star Wars, they couldn't be heroes because they had to be the baddies. Not to get on a Kevin Smith rant here.
So, yes, we'll be taking a break for that. So that'll be delightful. But I think...
And Wilf will be in it. Wilf will be in it
before he died. Who fucked it up? Who fucked up her character? Isn't that this guy? Isn't this still Russell T Davies?
Yeah, it's still Russell T Davies.
Because Doctor Who is, until they got the female doctor, and even arguably subsequent to that, it's so low-key sexist that it's incredible. It's so... they didn't acknowledge that people of color lived a different experience until the Peter Capaldi
Mm-hmm.
seasons. They, in fact, we're just really selling it, but I always have to. There's the Freema episode where she tells David Tennant that it's not comfortable for her to be in
Elizabethan England.
as a black woman
Yeah.
in his company, and he's like, you just smile and people give you whatever
Oh,
you want.
oh no! It was the one where he loses his memory, where he
Shakespeare one.
there's the Shakespeare one too, but the one where he loses his memory, or he doesn't lose it, he puts it in a little thing, and they go back and he's working in pre-war school. It's with
Oh
Freema.
yeah, that one.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
into the romance one. Yeah.
And
The
which is a
City on
great,
the Edge of Forever. Yeah.
which is great also, but she's like, I can't just show up as a black woman and like hang out with you. Like like I can't protect you when you're in this state because people won't let me near you because I'm black. Like
What?
it,
No, you're wrong.
it was bizarre.
And it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
It's definitely got problems, but
married her off to Mickey the rapist, and yeah, but this is a return to the
Donna.
best it's ever been. So
Ugh.
let's see.
It won't get any better. I mean, I hold out hope. I will continue to watch the new Doctor, but the Jodie Whittaker I liked, but it was just meh.
That got really bad. Chris Chibnall was bad.
It was just meh. So I'm excited.
Some good supporting cast, except that one dude, the problematic old white guy who turned out to be a problematic old white comic. What did you want to defend him
No,
as you wear his t-shirt right now?
I'm not wearing a t-shirt.
And he's
I'm wearing
dead.
a dress.
It's weird. He's dead. He's got a boner. It's just what's his face.
I was about to say I'm not wearing a t-shirt. I'm nude, but that's a joke that wouldn't go over on a
audio medium. Yeah. So yes. Anyway, but back to going to extremes. We shall return. Do you have it pulled up?
Oh no, I don't. But I can pull it up really easily.
Okay.
There's Amazon. This is what I want. Episode 6 is next week. And I can't say this one either because it has the M word. Cheryl and her housemates encounter a domestic disturbance. Oh, when they hire a maid. Oh no. Oh no. What are we gonna do?
Why? Why aren't there any good black men, Emily?
Kathleen plays matchmaker for a special patient, and Charlie meets the 7-foot giant again. Oh, great. So the guy that was following around.
I know. I'm just trying to decide if by special they mean it's going to be about her setting up 2 people with Downs.
Okay.
Well, folks, we'll be back.
We will be back next week.
Yes.
Things have calmed down, so we will be back next week when we discuss episode 6, Jesus Christ, of Going to Extremes. I'm not going to say the name of the title because of things. So we will see you next time. Andrew, I'll see you in Television Land.
Oh God, Emily, I'll see you in Television Land.